Well students, today we will see energy levels. Okay, so when we consider an atom, we know that there are different energy levels. Okay, and we will restrict our explanation to a hydrogen atom. The main reason is that Bohr's theory is mainly applicable to hydrogen and hydrogen like atoms. So we will take the help of an energy diagram over here. Okay, so these are the energy levels represented over here. When the first level n is equal to 1 is said to be ground state of the atom, where energy will be minus 13.6 electron volt. So energy is represented in terms of electron volt. Ground state of a hydrogen atom has got minus 13.6 electron volt energy. Okay, when we come to the second level, okay, where we have n is equal to 2, the energy is minus 13.4. n is equal to 3, we have energy minus 1.51. n is equal to 4, we have energy minus 0.85. So these things are arranged according to the equation what we have derived in the last class. So equation we know, right? En is equal to minus m e to the power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught n square h square. So we have substituted for all these values and we got the value for hydrogen, that is z is equal to 1 we had taken. We got the value En is equal to minus 13.6 divided by n square. Now what we are going to do here, we will substitute the values for n. So when n is equal to 1, we have E1, that is the energy of the ground state. When we substitute for n is equal to 2, we have E2, energy of the second state. So likewise it is written. So when energy is equal to 0, that is when n is equal to infinity. So infinite, okay, excited state, we call it as excited state. So when n is equal to infinity, the electrons in an atom is said to be free from the atom. So you can see here it is called ionized state, where n is higher. As we go to the higher and higher values of n, we will see that electrons will be ionized. Okay, now we will see different points related to this energy diagram. So hydrogen atom has got only one electron, which occupies lowest energy level, and it has energy value that is minus 13.6 electron volt, what we have seen here. Okay, the lowest energy level of atom is said to be ground state. Okay, so lowest energy level is said to be ground state. At room temperature, almost all hydrogen atoms are present in the ground state. Next point, if hydrogen atom absorbs some amount of energy, electrons in the ground state gets excited to higher energy levels, which are called excited level. So if you supply some amount of energy to this hydrogen atom, what happens? Electrons which are there in the ground state will get excited to higher energy state. So for hydrogen atom we have got only one orbit, but you can assume some excited states. So these excited states are said to be higher levels, higher energy levels. Third point, once in the excited state, atom is said to be unstable. So when this electron gets excited to the higher energy state, so that is not the actual position of the electron, then what happens? The electron which is in the higher state is actually unstable. After some time they get de-excited to the lower energy state or the ground state. When this electron gets de-excited to the lower energy state, what happens is whatever energy it had absorbed while exciting to the higher energy state is liberated in the form of EM wave, or we call it as electromagnetic radiation or electromagnetic wave of particular wavelength or frequency. Okay, at n is equal to infinity, we have already seen E will be equal to 0. At n is equal to infinity, electron becomes free from the atom. So that's what we call it as free electron. Okay, this free electron is not bound to the atom. The nucleus doesn't have any influence on this electron. It is free to move around the material. Okay, the minimum energy required to free the electron from the ground state is called ionization energy. So ionization energy is a minimum energy required to free the electron from the atom. For hydrogen atom, ionizing energy is said to be 13.6 electron volt. So this is about the basic ideas about energy levels. So ground state or ground energy level, then comes to the higher energy levels or excited states. Now we will move on to line spectra of hydrogen atom. Before that, I'll give you a brief idea about the spectra if you have got any confusion about this spectra. So simple way we can understand that the spectrum is nothing but when white light is passed, okay, through a prism, what happens? You know, right? Dispersion takes place and the white light gets splitted into 7 colors, VIBGYOR, okay. So this combination of all the components of white light is known as spectra. Okay, so spectra is simply nothing but it is a combination of components of white light splitted in different wavelength. Okay, so all these colors have got different wavelengths, right? According to that they are splitted. Now we will move on to the line spectra of hydrogen atom. We will see how to get the equation for wave number. Okay. So the same concept what we have just discussed over here is considered when electron jumps from higher energy orbit to lower energy orbit. The energy difference is in the form of electromagnetic radiation. So considering with this concept, we will consider the equation for energy that is already been discussed. Now energy of electron in the higher orbit, or we call it as N2, that can be given as E2 is equal to minus m Z square e to the power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square n square h square. The same equation is considered for N2. Then energy of electron in N1, the same equation, instead of N2 we have got N1. Okay, so this is the energy of electron in the excited state, this is the energy of electron in the ground state. So we will check the difference between these two energies. That energy is nothing but energy of the electromagnetic radiation liberated from that atom. Okay, we will take the energy difference, that is E2 minus E1, that is equal to h nu. So what is nu over there? Nu is a frequency of electromagnetic radiation. Now we can write E2 over here, write the equation minus of equation of E1, that is equal to h nu. Now what we are going to do here, we will take the equation in the form of a common term. So common terms are taken out from this equation. See this, m z square e to the power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square h square. It is a common term, you can see, just check it, you can see these terms are common in both the sides, sorry, not both the sides, in both the terms. So we can take the term, common term, and it will be taken out of the bracket. And what we have inside the bracket, see here, minus of minus is plus, right? That's the reason why the plus term is written first, that is 1 divided by n1 square, then minus 1 divided by n2 square. See here, 1 divided by n1 square minus 1 divided by n2 square, that is equal to h nu. Okay, now we can write this equation for nu taking h to the other side. So what happens? Nu is equal to m z square e to the power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square h cube. So h from the right hand side is taken to the other side, so that we have h cube. Then the bracket term. Now we have C is equal to nu lambda. We have the equation C is equal to nu lambda. Then we can write 1 by lambda. See, just take this equation to this side, this C to the other side. 1 by lambda is equal to nu divided by c. Just check it properly. What happens here? Nu divided by c, that is equal to 1 by lambda. So we will divide this equation, okay, by c, and it will be written as equal to 1 by lambda. So just see here what we have extra over here in this term. 1 by lambda is equal to nu divided by c, and the equation is same. Now 1 by lambda is equal to nu dash, okay. Nu dash, that is nothing but wave number. Nu dash is called as wave number. And what is this wave number? Number of wave in unit length. Number of wave in unit length is known as wave number, and you can write 1 by lambda is equal to nu dash. So I can write this nu dash instead of 1 by lambda, that is nu dash is equal to same equation, m z square e to the power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square c h cube multiplied by 1 divided by n1 square minus 1 divided by n2 square. Now just see this equation, we will substitute z is equal to 1. Why? For hydrogen atom. Okay, for hydrogen atom z is equal to 1. When you substitute z is equal to 1, what do you get here? We will get the equation 1 by lambda, the same equation. 1 by lambda is equal to m e to the power 4 divided by 8 epsilon naught square h cube into c. So this term can be written as r. So if you substitute the value of z here, you will get the term what I told here. Otherwise this term is known to be r, which is known as Rydberg constant. And you have the value of Rydberg constant. You have already seen that r is equal to 1.0973 into 10 to the power 7 per meter. Okay, by substituting the value for this equation, for the term, we can get the equation for 1 by lambda, that is equal to r into 1 divided by n1 square minus 1 divided by n2 square. So we will be making use of this equation to explain the different spectral series observed in an hydrogen atom. Okay. Well students, we will see the spectral series observed in hydrogen atom. So we have already seen the different type of spectral series observed, that is the Lyman series, Balmer series, Paston series, Brackett series, and the Pfund series. Okay, now we will see in detail why this series has to be studied, or how it actually occurs. Okay, so we can see the energy level diagram over here. So you have different energy levels: ground state, excited state, okay, and different values of energies for different levels is also given in the y-axis. Okay, so you can see when electron jumps from higher energy orbits to the ground state, that is n is equal to 1, the spectrum what we get comes under Lyman series. So listen carefully. When electron jumps from higher energy orbits, that is maybe n is equal to 2, or n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5, or n is equal to 6, or higher orders. When electron jumps from these higher orbits to ground state, okay, what we get is a Lyman series. Similarly, when electron jumps to second energy level from the higher energy levels, we get Balmer series. When electron jumps to second energy level from the higher energy levels, so that may be n is equal to 3, n is equal to 4, n is equal to 5, etc. Similarly, Paston series is obtained when electron jumps to third orbit from higher energy orbits. Then Brackett series obtained when electrons jumps to fourth orbit from the higher orbits. Okay, now we will see in detail one by one. Okay, Lyman series. A Lyman series obtained when electron jumps to first orbit from outer orbits. So these outer orbits or higher orbits may be n is equal to 2, 3, 4, etc. then the equation for wavelength can be written as 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 divided by 1 square, that is n1 square minus 1 divided by n2 square. So first, when I introduced this equation, I told you will come to know why this is 1 and why that is the second equation it is 2, 3, etc. So it is the main reason why it is 1, because electron jumps to the first orbit in the case of Lyman series. We have the equation, okay. This series comes under ultraviolet region. So this Lyman series comes under ultraviolet region. Okay. Balmer series is obtained when electron jumps to second orbit from the outer orbit. See, n1 is equal to 2. You can write the equation for wavelength. 1 by lambda is equal to R into, in the bracket, 1 divided by 2 square. See, 2 square minus 1 divided by n2 square. So n2 will be 3, 4, 5. So it cannot be 1 or 2. Why? Because it has to be higher orbits. So it will be 3, 4, 5. And this Balmer series, it comes under visible region. Okay, this comes under visible region. That's the main reason why we focus more on this Balmer series. We can observe it. Next one, it is about Paston series. So similar explanation can be given. Paston series is obtained when electron jumps to third orbit from the outer orbits. So equation can be given. 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 divided by 3 square minus 1 divided by n2 square, where n2 is equal to 4, 5, 6, etc. So this series lies in the infrared region. Okay. Bracket series is obtained when electron jumps to fourth orbit from the outer orbits. So when electron jumps to fourth orbit, what will be the outer orbits? Outer orbits will be 5, 6, 7, etc. So equation will be 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 divided by 4 square minus 1 divided by n2 square. This series also comes under infrared region. The last one, it is a Pfund series. Okay, Pfund series is obtained when electron jumps to fifth orbit from the outer orbits. We can write the equation 1 by lambda is equal to R into 1 divided by 5 square, that is n1 square, minus 1 divided by n2 square. n2 will be 6, 7, 8, etc. So this series comes under infrared region. Okay. Rutherford failed to explain the revolution of electrons around the circular path, because you know that when electrons revolve around the circular path, they radiate energy. Next comes Bohr with an idea that electrons will not liberate energy when they are revolving in a particular orbits. So those orbits he called it as stationary orbits. Okay. So even though he explained the stationary orbit, he could not give the proper idea how electrons are not liberating energy when they are revolving around the stationary orbit. Here next comes de Broglie. You must be familiar with Louis de Broglie, who had explained the dual nature of matter and radiation. So you have already studied in the dual nature of light. The light behaves like particle as well as wave. Okay. Similarly, de Broglie comes up with an idea that a matter can behave like a wave or a particle. So here comes the matter wave. Okay. So de Broglie says electrons can behave like wave. So even though electron is a particle, it can behave like wave when it moves with a certain speed. Okay. So now we will see how de Broglie could explain Bohr's postulate. According to Bohr's postulate, we know that mvr is equal to h divided by 2 pi. So angular momentum is nothing but integral multiple of h by 2 pi. Now de Broglie gives an idea that a particle of mass m moving with a speed v is associated with a wave of wavelength lambda. So he says that electron revolving around the circular path can behave like a wave. Okay. So he gives the wavelength equation for this matter wave that is lambda is equal to h divided by mv. Now you can see in this diagram, okay, so this is the actual orbit. When electrons revolve around this orbit, according to de Broglie, you will have a stationary wave, okay. So this stationary wave you have already seen in first PU, okay. What is a stationary wave? A wave which is not moving. That means a wave after reflection they meet with the same phase, okay. You will have something like this. Now you can see here, when electrons revolve around circular path, it behaves like a circular stationary wave, okay. So we will see here, according to de Broglie, electron orbiting nucleus is associated with a stationary wave, okay. Since electron revolve in circle, the wave must be circular standing wave that closes on itself. Now you see here, as electrons are revolving around circular path, this wave must close on itself. So that means you can have a stationary wave around the nucleus, okay. So that's the reason why the possibility of electron revolving around the nucleus in a particular orbit. So this closing of waves will not be possible in all the energy orbits. So that's the reason why we had discrete orbits. We did not have continuous orbit, right, according to Bohr's theory. Then we will see, if electron does not close on itself, say electron wave, okay, does not close on itself, what happens? We will have a destructive interference. So you must have seen the destructive interference and constructive interference, okay. So when there is a face-on collision, okay, it will give you constructive interference. If it is out of phase, you will get a destructive interference. So if the wave doesn't close upon itself or doesn't close on itself, you will get a destructive wave. So this is what is happening in the orbit other than the discrete orbit mentioned by Niels Bohr. So in this orbit, what happens? Electron wave actually dies out, okay. The destructive interference takes place and electron wave dies out. For electron in the nth orbit of radius Rn, the circumference can be given as 2 pi Rn, okay. Then we can write 2 pi Rn, that is equal to n lambda. You see here in this, you can see here the wave will have wavelength lambda. See, you know, right, what is wavelength? It's the distance from trough to trough or crest to crest. You can see here. See, from here to here you have a wavelength lambda. So in this wave, stationary wave, you can have n number of lambda, okay. So we can write what is circumference? 2 pi Rn, that is equal to n lambda. Now what is lambda according to de Broglie? We have already seen it is h divided by mv. So we will substitute it over here. 2 pi Rn is equal to n into h divided by mv. Or we can write, taking the terms to this side, you can write mvrn, that is equal to n h divided by 2 pi. So have you seen this equation anyway? See, this is the equation what is given by Niels Bohr. He said, right, mvr is equal to integral multiple of h by 2 pi. So this is a way the condition provided by Niels Bohr was proved, and it was not proved by Niels Bohr, it was proved by de Broglie, okay. For the angular momentum of electron, the equation is given and it is proposed by Bohr but actually proved by de Broglie, okay. Now we will see limitations of Bohr's theory. So even though Bohr theory could explain many of the observed phenomena, it could overcome the Rutherford failures, still it could not do much with many aspects, okay. We will see one by one. It is applicable to simplest atom like hydrogen atom. It fails for other atoms. So the main limitation of Bohr's theory was it could be applied only to hydrogen like atoms, okay. The next one, it does not explain the fine structure of hydrogen atom. So it could not explain the fine structure observed in hydrogen atom. Next, it could not explain the difference in the intensities of emitted radiation. So emitted radiation will not have same intensity. It will have different intensities with the different orders. So Bohr theory could not explain the different intensities as well. Next, it could not explain Zeeman effect and Stark effect. So the Zeeman effect, actually, when you have a spectrum, okay, spectrum of light brought in between the magnetic field. When you have two magnets, when you bring the spectrum in between the magnet, because of the magnetic field, you will observe splitting of spectrum. It is known as Zeeman effect. Okay, so splitting of spectrum due to magnetic field is known as Zeeman effect, and the splitting of spectrum due to electric field is known as Stark effect. So both these phenomena observed were not explained by Niels Bohr. Okay. Next one, it could not explain why some orbits are circular, even elliptical orbits are possible. So Bohr theory could not explain why you can have the orbits which are circular even while you can have elliptical orbits also. Okay, this is about limitations of Bohr theory. Next class we will solve some numerical problems.